Hello, and thanks for joining this hands-on demo of EMC Atmos. This is Frank Murphy with EMC, and over the next few minutes we'll see how Atmos delivers cloud solutions that are enterprise ready. So let's get started. So what trends are we seeing today with information growth? First, the latest industry projections estimate the size of the digital universe exceeds a staggering zettabyte of information. Also, there's lots of it, and most of it's unstructured and unmanaged. 85% of it's managed by organizations, and with security implications, the growth is becoming more and more regulated. And worse, the consequences of not properly managing information are severe and likely to get worse. So, to address this explosive growth of digital content, EMC has introduced Atmos. Atmos is cloud-optimized storage, meaning it's purpose-built to rapidly and easily store the types of unstructured content or objects that we just discussed. And Atmos can scale limitlessly to fit your needs. Its software enables interfaces for faster integration using REST or SOAP-based APIs that are designed for internet scale, while still enabling legacy interfaces like CIFS, NFS, or IFS. It's deployed as an appliance of integrated hardware and software components, or as a virtual edition on VMware's ESX that leverages a variety of third-party back-end platforms, as well as our own EMC storage like Unified, Solera, or the vMax families. And lastly, through the concept of multi-tenancy, resources are logically separated to applications and users, or tenants, and they're separated from each other to enable multiple use cases that still have Atmos managed as a single cloud entity. So, with near zettabyte scale, multi-tenancy, and many deployment options, with Atmos you're not just limited to one use case, but rather you can leverage our partner and ISV ecosystem to deliver pre-integrated, out-of-the-box solutions to a whole host of use cases and business challenges, as seen here, ranging from infrastructure solutions to archiving to simply managing unstructured content with a dynamic policy engine that's really designed for efficiency and scale. So, with that, let's take a look at just one example using Atmos and web services. As a cloud storage system, Atmos is managed as a single entity from a global management console. This gives the system administrator a single pane of glass view into their environment to see capacity, availability, and perform various point-and-click operational tasks. So in this example, let's take the case of an upcoming trade show like EMC World, or it could be any other type of new business initiative with a need for rapid storage growth. Some examples of tenants I've created here could be a trade show, Marcom, or even a sales tenant. And again, so with this concept of tenancy, rather than provisioning LUNs, RAID sets, device groups, and then planning out backup strategies and replication and whatnot, we simply provision tenants or consumers of the storage, and the system and the software takes care of the rest. So here, I've already provisioned a tenant called PhotoShare, who will be creating the photos and digital media for the upcoming show. I can see they have their own unique tenant ID, a logical association to certain storage nodes in my cloud, and a mixture of file services, in this case web services, accessible across all nodes, and a mixture of CIFS and NFS exports presented across certain other nodes, depending on the type of client app that might be creating content. So once that's set up, that's it. This tenant's ready to rock. So let's log out and log back in as this new tenant. And in this view, now we see a very different view of the cloud. I see only what I've been assigned, and I can see a list of other subtenants and policies available to me. So now let's drill down a little deeper and take a look at a subtenant. And here I can see all the subtenant's attributes, but over here I want to zoom in to see the UIDs or user IDs. In this case, the users are three very different apps. One is HANA, a web services client that we'll look at a little later. Another is a cloud gateway from our ISV partner, 710. And the third is from EMC's own FMA file management appliance that helps archive content onto Atmos. So I've already configured FMA to handle the gobs of unstructured content that's created before this show. So the last item to see under a tenant is the true secret sauce of Atmos, and that's the policy engine. So what do we mean by policy? It's a method to translate your business rules into how your data is being managed. In other words, the Atmos policy engine puts you in control of the data and not the other way around. So here's just one example. I have a specification here for certain types of unstructured content for my trade show. It says that the data is popular, so I'll create more replicas of it in a given geography in my storage cloud. And then when its popularity fades, Atmos will automatically reduce the extra replicas and keep just one. And for other types of content that has more value to me over the long term and needs to be held for longer periods, I may only want to keep just one copy and apply, instead, in this case, apply an erasure code to it so it's more highly protected. And how do we apply these policies? By leveraging an object's metadata. It's really a very simple but yet very powerful way to handle large amounts of unstructured content with a single policy engine. So with my business rules applied, I'm ready to start pulling in content. In this case, here's a simple Flex-based client tool we've written. It simulates an app or even a website that ingests content. It could be a packaged app, something like SharePoint, or some homegrown app written to our own API. And remember, by using Web Services Client to access storage directly, as you can with the Atmos API, you can do that without an app server or a database server. It's a much more efficient and easier way and more scalable way to add and manage storage. Now, some users may be skeptical at first, which is why we encourage the ability to view an object's attributes from the command line. So here, we're looking at an example of how the show's agenda got treated and replicated. We can see that it's had a geographical replication method applied, and that it's been stored in 9 data fragments in 3 parity-coded segments. All of this for improved data accuracy and availability. So with erasure codes, I could lose or not have access to up to 6 copies of my data and still be able to read it successfully. So that's it. That PhotoShare tenant is out there rocking. Content is flowing in on write and is being protected, distributed, and replicated automatically. I've got FMA out there leveraging FAST to tier data on the Solera and archive it out to Atmos. And if some other new sort of crazy project pops up, and it probably will, I can quickly turn it around and turn around a new tenant for a new use case and leveraging any of these integrations or any of our other integrations. So if we take a step back, we've seen ways to leverage multi-tenancy on exabyte scale with a powerful policy engine controlling how objects are geographically distributed in the system, really from cradle to grave. And with no need to back up, synchronize, archive, or replicate content between sites, the TCO and the ability to automate the mundane is very compelling. So inside of your private cloud, you have 2 deployment options to consume Atmos, either as pre-configured integrated hardware and software appliances, ranging from 60 terabytes up to 720 terabytes in a single cabinet, or with a virtual edition running on ESX, you have a much smaller entry point starting at as little as 10 terabytes. And all of that rolls up to 3 main use cases, where you could deliver IT as a service, sort of infrastructure as a service to your internal customers and help you manage those explosions of unstructured web content, or simply create a limitless file archive. And with Atmos, there's no lock-in. So if you want your storage to be consumed externally as a service from some service provider, you can leverage the Atmos API and our service provider ecosystem and our ISV partners from any one of the 10 service providers who have deployed Atmos, some of whom are listed here. So again, with Atmos, you can capitalize on cloud solutions that are enterprise ready, available today. And thanks for your time.